This is what you need to know now. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the U.S. is on track to achieve complete control of Iranian airspace. Dramatic video from the Pentagon showing what officials say is the U.S. Navy sinking an Iranian warship with a torpedo, the first such action since World War II. And a mother of two, an expert in martial arts, and a 20-year-old son. What we're now learning about the American soldiers who were killed in the war. Plus, a high-stakes antitrust trial gets underway, claiming Ticketmaster and Live Nation's dominance harmed competition in the concert business. And a new airline policy when it comes to passenger behavior, what's now being banned. We have much more what you need to know now. I'm Rachel Scott from ABC News here at the White House. It is Wednesday, March 4th. This is what you need to know. Let's get right to the big story. Another wave of strikes on Tehran as the war now enters its fifth day. Explosions were heard across Tehran Wednesday morning as the Israeli military announced broad-scale attacks on Iranian regime targets. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth says America is winning the war, adding the U.S. and Israel are on track to achieve near total control of the Iranian airspace within days. Hegseth also portrayed the campaign as precise and unrelenting.
Only the United States of America could lead this, only us. But when you add the Israeli Defense Forces, a devastatingly capable force, the combination is sheer destruction for our radical Islamist Iranian adversaries. They are toast, and they know it. Or at least, soon enough, they will know it. And we have only just begun to hunt, dismantle, demoralize, destroy, and defeat their capabilities, just 4 days in.
Hegseth warned that the U.S. is prepared to sustain the fight as long as needed. The Pentagon says this new video from a U.S. submarine shows a torpedo sinking an Iranian warship off Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's Navy said it recovered 87 bodies at the scene and rescued 32 people. It marks the first such attack with a torpedo in international waters since World War II, when the USS Torsk, seen here at a museum in Baltimore's Inner Harbor, sank a Japanese ship with a torpedo. In Iran, funeral plans for the late Supreme Leader have been postponed, with officials saying a date will be set later. Reports suggest his second oldest son, Mujtaba Khamenei, is now the favorite to be named the next Supreme Leader. The funeral for his father was set for later Wednesday, along with 3 days of mourning, but that's now delayed as the strikes in Tehran continue. Meanwhile, the conflict is escalating in Lebanon, where Israel is carrying out strikes against the Iranian-backed terror group Hezbollah. Officials say one Israeli attack hit a hotel in Beirut. Matt Rivers is there.
Take a look at what's going on here. You've got a construction crews already up there trying to shore up the building. It does appear that it's one specific room, or maybe two at the most, here inside this hotel that was targeted. We don't have exact information about the strike yet, who was targeted by the Israelis. It happened in the early morning hours, with local officials telling me that multiple people were severely injured at this point as they try to gather more information. But what's notable here is where we are. This neighborhood is not controlled by Hezbollah. In fact, it's a Christian neighborhood that has lots of foreign embassies in this area. The Italians, the Poles, and others are located nearby. In fact, less than a half mile to my left, the presidential palace here in Beirut is located. So this is not an area where we usually see Israeli airstrikes. Again, it is not controlled by Hezbollah, and yet you can see behind me there what happened.
All of this comes as Americans are still scrambling to find a way out of the Middle East after the State Department urged them to leave 14 countries. The U.S. says it is working to evacuate them on charter flights or by land. James is in northern Iraq.
Well, 11 countries have now been sucked into this war, with embassies, oil infrastructure and civilian targets in Iran's sights. And after some delay, the US is now arranging charter flights from 3 of those countries for stranded Americans. Now, there is said to be a new phone message when you call that number. It says the State Department is committed in helping US citizens who want to leave the region to do so, and then it asks callers to stay on the line. But I've got to tell you, we have tried multiple times to call that number. It has not worked for any of us. Colleagues stateside seem to be able to get through. From here, though, much more difficult.
And we are learning more about some of the 6 soldiers killed in Kuwait by an Iranian strike, including 20-year-old Sergeant Declan Cody from Iowa. He was posthumously promoted from specialist. Cody was an Army Reserve studying cybersecurity at Drake University. His family believes he was killed shortly after getting off the phone with his brother.
We don't know specifics, but we're just making an assumption based off of timing that it was shortly after that phone call that he had gotten off with his brother, that this is when that happened and his operations center got hit.
I still don't fully think it's real. I didn't think it was real when they told us. Because I just remember all of our conversations about what he was going to do when he came back.
The other soldiers are identified as 35-year-old Captain Cody Cork of Florida, being remembered as a loving husband and a father with an infectious spirit. 42-year-old Sergeant First Class Noah T. James was a husband and father from Nebraska. His family says he was a black belt in martial arts and was an instructor there and a leader in his community. And 39-year-old Sergeant First Class Nicole Moore, an avid gardener and mother of two. Her husband says he last spoke to her just hours before the strike and that she never responded the next morning. And we have much more of what you need to know. Stay with us. Here's your daily briefing. Other big stories we are following on ABC News. The U.S. was also involved in another military operation, this time in Ecuador. U.S. officials say it was a joint mission with Ecuadorian forces aimed at what they described as designated terrorist organizations. U.S. personnel nearby provided support and tactical advice, but did not participate, according to a source familiar with the operation. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is back on Capitol Hill defending her department's immigration enforcement tactics in front of a Senate committee. Yesterday, Noem pushed back against criticism from Democrats who said she wrongly disparaged two protesters killed by federal officers in Minneapolis earlier this year. In one exchange, retiring Republican Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina called her leadership a disaster. Noem defended her agency's treatment of immigrants, blaming activists and others for attacks against officers. And the first witness takes the stand today in the antitrust trial of Ticketmaster and its parent company, Live Nation. The Justice Department and dozens of states are suing the company, claiming it has monopoly power over the concert industry, which makes tickets more expensive for fans. Live Nation disputes that, saying it has thin profit margins and is part of an ultra-competitive industry. The trial is expected to last 6 weeks. And new today, United Airlines trying to keep things quieter in the cabin. It has a new rule for passengers. Headphones must be used if you're enjoying audio or video content. Penalties include being kicked off a flight or banned from the airline entirely. And finally, before you go, more than 10,000 miles from Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Lines is launching a new chapter in Singapore, unveiling the Disney Adventure, the 8th and largest ship in its fleet. The ship will carry nearly 6,700 passengers on 3- and 4-night sailing cruises, featuring 7 themed lands, including a Marvel-themed roller coaster and the first ever Disney castle at sea. Rebecca Jarvis sat down with Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro.
I mean, this street we're sitting on, you would not know that we're inside of a cruise ship right now.
This is one of my favorite spaces in the ship. This is San Francisco from Big Hero 6. There are dozens of these stories around the whole cruise ship. A long time coming. We start with a really bold vision on a product that we want to create. The Imagineers immediately get to work, and here it is now. It was amazing to see the Disney Adventure come into the port last night, just a spectacle.
The Disney Adventure was officially christened in Singapore by Oscar winner Robert Downey Jr., who made a dramatic onstage appearance ahead of its first sailing mission next week. And that's what you need to know. For breaking news and live updates throughout the day, check out ABC News streaming on Disney+. New episodes streaming every day on Disney+.